So on the basis of shape of the gland, what did I say? On the basis of shape of the gland can be categorized into two types. So there's your tubular gland, and then there's your saccular, which is also known as alveolar gland. So your tubular gland is called so because it looks like a test tube. What I have right here is the cross-sectional diagram of the tubular gland. And if you look at it closely, you can find that I have drawn two parts. There's the part that I have drawn with a red pen, and then there's the part I have drawn with blue pen. The part that I have drawn with red pen shows the duct part of the gland and the part that consists of non-secretory cells. And then the one with the blue pen consists of the secretory part of the gland and consists of specialized cells for secretion or secretory cells. And the space inside of the gland where the particular secretion is given off by those secretory cells is your lumen. Okay. Tubular gland can further be categorized into various types on the basis of the type of duct present or the type of secretory part present in that particular gland. So number one, you have simple straight tubular gland. Let's break the words. Okay, so the red portion shows the duct region and the blue portion shows the secretory region. It's a simple gland. That means it has one single duct. And from the diagram, you can clearly see that there's only one duct present. It's a tubular gland. That is, the gland is shaped like a tube, and it is indeed shaped like a tube. And then it's a straight tubular gland. That is, the tubular gland that is present is straight, and so does the gland shown in the diagram. That's why it's a simple straight tubular gland. The example of which is crypts of Leberkuchen. Crypts of Leberkuchen, which is found in your small intestine. We know that the small intestine is lined by numerous finger-like projections called villi. Alternate to these villi, so here's one villi, alternate to this villi. Again, there's another villi, alternate to that villi. Then there's again another villi, alternate to this villi. Are your crypts of Leberkuchen, which are nothing but tubular glands. What do they secrete? They secrete your intestinal juices. Second is simple coiled tubular gland. So that's your simple coiled tubular gland. It's simple because, again, it has a single duct. The duct is not branched. It is tubular because it looks like a tube, and it's coiled because the end part of this tubular gland is highly coiled. This type of gland is found in your sweat glands. Thirdly, you have simple branched tubular gland. Again, let's break down the name of it. Simple. So it has one single duct. That's why it's simple. Tubular gland. It is indeed a tubular gland. And it's branched, as you can see here. The secretory part is branched. It has multiple secretory parts coming off from a single junction. That's why it's known as simple branched tubular gland. Example of which is your gastric glands, Brunner's gland, and uterine gland. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about these examples. I guess you have to learn it on your own. But these examples, I have not necessarily seen them come before in any entrance examinations, but you never know. You can never trust MEC, can you? Then in number 4, you have compound. Here's a new word, compound tubular gland. In this case, it's called compound because the duct itself is branched. Look at the red portion. It is branched. That's why this tubular gland is known as compound tubular gland. Where is it found? It's found in your salivary gland. It's found in your kidney. And most importantly, it's found in your pancreas. Then, the second type on the basis of shape is your saccular or alveolar gland, where the gland is sac-like, as you can see right here. So here the red portion shows the duct. The blue portion shows the secretory region that consists of glandular epithelium or secretory cells that are highly specialized. And the inner free space where the secretion is poured by the secretory cells is a lumen. Okay, so number 1, you have simple saccular gland. It's simple because it has a single duct. Example of which is your sebaceous gland. What do we know about sebaceous gland? It is a holocrine gland. That is, during its secretion, the cell ruptures completely. Second is simple branched gland. How do I know that? Simple, because it has a single duct. Branched, because the secretory portion is branched. Simple. Example of which are your, I'm so sorry, sebaceous gland comes under here. Your simple saccular gland consists of seminal vesicle and mammary gland found in frog. I know it's quite boring, but what can I do? Nothing. Teach you what's given in the book. And you gotta learn somehow. Number 3 is your compound saccular gland. Why is it called so? I've already mentioned compound because the duct part itself is highly branched. Look at the red part. It's branched, right? That's why it's called compound. Example of which is your mammary gland. If you are wondering how did I come up with the reasoning for the given names, I don't know, I came up with it today itself. And I hope it helped you as well. Or maybe not. I don't know. So the examples consist of mammary gland, sublingual and submandibular salivary glands. Finally, you have compound sacculo-tubular gland. What? So, you can get it from the name itself. It's a compound sacculo-tubular gland. That is, it is a combination of compound saccular gland and compound tubular gland. That is, the ducts are branched. Sure, the secretory part is also branched at that same time. Sure, but there is branching in both type, the tubular type as well, in tubular type as well, and then in saccular type as well. There's branching. So branching within branching and consists of both tubular and saccular part. So that's your compound saccular tubular gland. Example of which is just one that has been given in your book, and that's your Cooper's gland. Okay, let me revise it for you. And I want you to listen very carefully. So there's glands, right? On the basis of shape of the gland, I'm talking about this shape. On the basis of shape of the gland, they are majorly categorized into 2 types. There's your tubular gland, and then there's your saccular or alveolar gland. Tubular gland is called so because it looks like a test tube. What I have here is the cross-sectional diagram of the tubular gland. Imagine a test tube and then take the cross-section of that test tube. It would look something like this, right? So what does this gland consist of? The red part, which denotes the duct area, the blue part, which denotes the secretory area. The secretory area is where the specialized glandular epithelium is found, which consists of secretory cells that are specialized for the function of secretion. The empty space inside where this secretion by the cells is poured is your lumen. They are of different types as well on the basis of branching of the gland. So first, look at the diagram. There's your duct. Is it branched? No, it's not. Then your gland is simple. Look at the shape of the gland. Is it tubular? Yes. That means it's tubular. Is it straight? Yes. So that's your simple straight tubular gland. Secondly, look at the red part. The duct. Is it branched? No. That means the gland is simple. Is it tubular? Yes. That means the gland is tubular. Is it straight? Nah. What has happened? The end portion is highly coiled. So it's your simple coiled tubular gland. Look at the third type. So is your duct branched? No. That means the gland is simple. Is the secretory portion branched? Yes. That means the gland is branched. Is it tubular? Yep. So that's your simple branched tubular gland. And finally, is the duct region branched? Yes. That means it's a compound gland. Is it tubular? Yes, that means it's a compound tubular gland. Apply the same concept over to saccular gland, where the glands are sac-like. So there's your simple saccular gland. There's your simple but branched gland. There's your compound saccular gland. And then finally, this huge thing is your compound tubulosaccular or saccular-tubular gland, which is a combination of both compound tubular gland and compound saccular gland. With that, we end the episode of epithelial tissue. Next video is going to be interesting because in next video, I'm going to revise everything onto the topic of epithelial tissue in one shot. It's going to be amazing.